The New York Rangers have made multiple shocking moves. After a lackluster win, Peter Laviolette decided to pull the trigger, and it looks like it's paid off after a huge win against the New York Islanders. But the New York Rangers have a new look. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Rangers Digest. But before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you who watch our videos are not actually subscribed to the channel. So if you want to do yourself a favor, it's free. Hit that subscribe button and you get to stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. And like I mentioned, fantastic, huge win against the New York Islanders. But it is not the New York Rangers that we are used to seeing, at least this season. So far this season, multiple big moves made by Peter Laviolette heading into this game to get some of his star players going, because they have not been. And we will get into everything, including the game. But this is from Vince before the game, and obviously they had some interesting practice lines yesterday, and they looked very similar today, and they ran with them in the game, and I thought this was very interesting. And New York Rangers warm-up rushes for this afternoon's game versus the New York Islanders at MSG is the same as we saw in yesterday's practice. Now, completely new look lineup, and I think I'm liking some of what I saw today, I will be honest. So Panarin is now with Zibanejad and Lafreniere. So just swapping out centers there essentially. But the second line is a completely new look line. You got three different players there with Cooley, who has earned this promotion. I will say I love Cooley's physicality. I love his speed. I love everything he's brought to the table so far this season. Trocheck, of course, has had a great season as well. Gets a goal in this game, so that was fantastic. Riley Smith had a great game too. That whole line had a pretty good game. A couple goals there from that line. So obviously Panarin scoring as well. And Zibanejad connecting with Chris Kreider. Again, shorthanded. A little bit of a different, it wasn't 5-on-5 or anything like that. But nice to see them get on the board and kind of get into the mix there as well. And if you look at the third line, Chris Kreider being demoted, if you want to call it that, all the way down to the third line. I don't know if this is a demotion as much as just a lineup shakeup, because Peter Laviolette, while they have been winning some games, they've been giving up far too many shots, and it has more to do with team defense, I think, than just the defensive pairings, which again looked very different in this game and probably closer to what fans would like. And we'll get to the defensive pairings in a second. Edstrom again with a great game. Carrick, VC's back in the lineup, so that's nice to see as well. And I thought the fourth line was creating chances all game long. I thought they were very good, and of course, Kreider with a goal 4-on-4. That third line didn't do too much for me in this game, but lots of through the entire lineup, I will say. Now Lindgren is back with Fox, and obviously I've been saying, Miller and Fox, they haven't looked fantastic together. It seemed like Peter Laviolette really liked them together, but I've been saying since the summer that it was crucial for the Rangers to lock up Lindgren at least for 1 year, which I thought was great. Lots of flexibility in that move. But he is the Robin to Adam Fox's Batman. I feel like they complement each other very well. Fox obviously with 2 bad penalties today, but you know what? It's a big win, and you put those things behind you. And Miller's now playing with Trouba again, and Zach Jones gets back into the lineup. Victor Mancini out. We expected this to happen from game to game, and Schneider there with him. And of course, Igor between the pipes. And in terms of other moves, I wanted to touch on very quickly before we get into the actual game, some stuff I liked and some quotes from Peter Laviolette. I wanted to get into some other moves that the New York Rangers made. They sent Matt Rempe back to the Hartford Wolfpack, made some news just, a little while ago, and I think this is a good move. The more that Matt Rempe plays, the better it is for Matt Rempe, and Laviolette said on the decision to send him down, we make the decision based on what we think we need for any given night. Him going down and playing 2 games, playing 16, 17, 18 minutes in all situations, that's great for him and his development, and I totally agree with Peter Laviolette in that sentiment, and I think, he's going to be a better player for it. He's still young. We tend to forget that. So, thought this was interesting from Vince as well, and we'll really get into the game now, and I want to get into some advanced analytics, because it's pretty shocking who was, in terms of advanced analytics, and the impact charts, who was the best players on the ice. But say what you will about the line changes, but I think they have the potential to define roles more clearly, and I think I totally agree with this. Zibanejad's line and Heedle's line, should get most ozone starts, with Trocheck's taking some of the toughest defensive assignments off Mika's plate. And I think, if you're trying to get Mika Zibanejad going offensively, this is kind of the stuff you got to do. And when you look at the lineup, I totally agree with that. And that being said, Trocheck scored today. Riley Smith, right? All getting in on the action. I think Smith's goal was actually taken away. Not taken away, but Edstrom actually scored before Smith put it in the net. But, great performance from them offensively as well. And I feel like responsible defensively. The Rangers have been giving up far too many shots the last couple of games, even though they won the last game, but they have to clean that up. And clearly they're trying to do that with this lineup. And they did that against, of course, the Islanders missing a lot of players right now, but they did that against the Islanders. And I like that. And a strong performance from the New York Rangers, right? As Igor Shesterkin lifts them again to another win. And, thoughts, concerns, anything like that, as Johnny's asking here. And yes, I have a couple concerns. And I think that you cannot rely on Igor Shesterkin the way that you have been relying on him recently. You can't. I mean, again, like Peter Laviolette said right here, we can't rely on him. He's making some big saves. He is definitely the reason they won the last game. 100% the reason they won the last game. But even in this game, man, he made some incredible saves, and saves that I'm not sure you get from any other goaltender in the National Hockey League to keep you in that game and allow you to win. And yes, they scored 5 goals. Obviously, you're going to win most games that you scored 5 goals in. But Shesterkin really keeping them in these games, and you're not going to be able to rely on him every night like that. There's going to be a game where he might not have it. And it's a long season, right? You're going to have quick in some games. So they got to figure that part out. You can't rely on him. But when you have to, man, is he something to watch. He is the best goaltender in the National Hockey League. And as you can see here, I love looking at these impact charts as well, who had an impact on the game. There's other ones too, hockey stat cards as well. Chris Kreider, best player on the ice for the New York Rangers statistically this afternoon. Mika Zibanejad with a big bounce back performance as well, getting an assist. And you love, on the first goal, I should say, with Chris Kreider. And you love to see that. These, a lot of fans have been hard on Mika Zibanejad, and the top guys for that matter, because, the first line coming into this season was quickly demoted to the second line, and they've been disbanded right now, right? Because it just has not been working. So really good game from the Rangers here. I wouldn't be mad if Laviolette kept these lines, and I'll get to these lines in just a second here. I wouldn't be mad, especially on the offensive side of things. I would not be mad if he kept some of this going, because clearly it worked today, and obviously it might not. Maybe you want to spread the wealth a little bit more again. But I think, putting Zibanejad, having full offense there on that first line with Zibanejad in the middle, that's not bad. If that's, kind of what you want as an identity for that line, I think that's okay. I think that's all right, but you're going to have to deal, of course, with them not being so defensively responsible at times, but you have other lines that can do that. So big win today. Obviously, I'm cool with these lines going forward if it works, because clearly they're giving up too many shots, and they just squeaked out a win the other night because of Igor. And I think the defensive pairings like this work a lot better. But let me know in the comments what you think about these new lineup moves from Peter Laviolette, and what you think of the defense pairings, and obviously the new lines, and how everyone played today, because it was a great game. I think it had much to do with the lineup changes, because it was a little cleaner of a game. Obviously, Igor had to stand on his head at times, but he, of course, is going to do that all season. But they played much better. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.